Hey folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. So, a million miles away, Mike's instant movie review, and this is actually pretty instant. This is a little bit different because I actually took a big road trip just to see this advanced screening through Amazon Prime. So, if I was wearing a hat, I'd say hats off to Amazon Prime and this film, A Million Miles Away. So, I'm here in beautiful. Gainesville, Florida. I took a fucking road trip. I got a hotel room. Not that this movie was like I, need to alter my world, but it was an excuse to kind of do something different. So I did something different. This hotel room, I guess you get what you pay for. No offense. I did use points to get a nice free room for the night. Me and just a few ants apparently in this room. So. Like I said, you get what you pay for. But in any fucking event, let's discuss this movie. What's it all about, Mike? It's a movie, an astronaut's tale, based on true events, based on a true guy. Jose Hernandez, I believe is his name. And apparently, Jose has a pretty interesting story, enough so to make a movie. Like Jim Morrison said, did you have a good life? Was it enough to base a movie on? Yeah, I guess it was Jose. So Jose was born in Mexico, son of migrant farmers. His family moves up to the U.S. to have a better life, and but they're always kind of going from place to place, looking for a place to pick the fields and get the fruit off the fucking trees, and struggling. And young Jose shows some real aptitude for math, and one of his teachers, kind of tries to pleads with Jose's parents to, do what they can to stop touring around looking for work and stay in one place, making this wonderful metaphor to a tree. How can you grow a tree if you keep uprooting it and planting it somewhere else? And somehow that gets the message across, and the parents, one way or another, are able to kind of settle down. Flash forward to Jose is now at the end of high school. He meets a beautiful young woman. She's selling cars. He wants to date her, but her daddy is very protective and so forth. So Jose has to come and meet her familia, and so on and so forth. So begins the romance. And really, this is one of these movies that, yes, Jose is front and center, but his lovely wife is behind him 100%, raising their 5 kids, 5 children, and doing all the wonderful things and putting her dreams of owning a restaurant on hold to support Jose's dreams of becoming an astronaut. You have, this movie, I guess, takes place, I want to say, from the late 60s all the way through 2004, 2005. You have some of the, evil oppressor white man stuff in this movie, but as I've said in other reviews, if that's the story, that's the story. Look, if that's the anecdote, if that's what happened, that's what happened. And, so, people kind of see Jose, and even people at he's literally like working on, he's a space design guy or a rocket scientist, and this secretary or receptionist mistakes him for a janitor. So, smart move on his part. He accepts it when this, mistaken secretary gives him a fucking, master key set. He's like, fuck it, I'll use this to my advantage. So he's a smart guy. He's a resourceful guy. Do what you can what you do, and he's a go-getter, folks. And so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. Well, eventually, guess the fuck what? We kind of tell by the movie poster that yes, Jose ends up in space. He gets to be an astronaut. Everybody's happy. But it kind of comes after a lot of turmoil, no spoilers, by the way. If you remember, and I just have a vague memory of this, because 2004, when there was a space shuttle that unfortunately it didn't make it, and all the people on board passed away, were violently killed. I do remember that story, but maybe I just wasn't paying as much attention to the news at that point in my life, but it seems like if you compare that to the Space Shuttle Challenger with McClure and all the other fine folks that died back in '86, I believe, for whatever reason, that 2004 story just never got as much publicity. Maybe I'm wrong, okay? I don't know. Especially, it just didn't seem to be as big of a situation in the public discourse. Am I wrong? Maybe I am. Like I said, I wasn't paying that much attention to the news around that time. But Jose's troop were the next troop to go up. I don't even think they call them a troop, a team, I guess. I'm trying to be respectful of all these words, these terminologies. So is this a good movie? Is it not? I mean, look, I was in an audience here in Gainesville, Regal Cinema. They actually have a really nice Regal Cinema down here. Interesting layout to the theater. You go into the row and then you kind of get stuck. Like if you go into the far end of the row, you can't get out the other side. So it's kind of a weirdly situated theater if you happen to be in Gainesville and know the Regal Butler Cinema. If you happen to, you could attest to the fact that it's a little bit odd, like the seating arrangement's a little bit odd, but the seats were recliners. That was nice. Typically in the Jacksonville Regal Cinemas, they are not recliners. Nice ladies, nice young women running the Amazon Prime screening event. They were handing out posters. They were doing the check-in thing, so they were pleasant. Nice concession people. They were all nice. So everything was very polite and eloquent. The movie, I enjoyed it. I mean, what I was getting at was the audience. I'm starting to notice trends with audiences, and the audience was very into this movie. They were kind of, going along with it, picking up on the callbacks, as it were, the dramatic callbacks, the humorous callbacks. What's a callback, Mike? It's like when you, another term, plant a seed, when you kind of, leave a reference or an allusion early in the film, and then you come back to it later. And there's several of those in this thing. I did have to facilitate. I did have to use the restroom at one point, and I think I missed a pretty pivotal scene of Jose kind of having this conversation with his cousin. And I think that one had like a bunch of payoffs because look, I've been around the block. I've written some scripts. I've had some made. I've had some not made. And I kind of know, like, when's a good time to take a restroom break, And just this scene was like him and his cousin, and you got to do this for the people and all that shit. And I, left and I come back and like all these, like, suddenly the cousin's the most important part of the movie for a minute. And I missed out. Not to chuckle, but I chuckled. Sue me. I liked the movie. I did. I mean, it brings a tear to your eye. It's one of these you can do it type of deals or whatever the fucks. So, yeah, good movie. Glad I saw it. Glad it came down. Gainesville's very interesting. It's definitely the feel of a college town. I will say that. It makes you feel like you're back at the alma mater. I'm sure that the kids at this college have a wonderful time. They're learning. They're sleeping well at night to learn their lessons and memorize their answers and their tests and all that crap. And they're putting an apple on the teacher's desk and so forth. So, very good evening. I'm very happy. I also accomplished, in case you are caring or wondering, gee whiz, Mike, how is your artwork coming? I was able to create this. I guess I didn't... This is not the one that I did tonight. I did a different one, but this is not the one. This is similar to the one I did today in Gainesville. But oddly enough, I did not... I guess that's in my vehicle of sorts. I have a... God, now I have to stand up. Let's see if it's over here. Yeah, I guess I just discovered it. I found it. So hold on. Hold your tights. So this one, yeah, that's it. See, I'm starting to have... Gee whiz, Mike. Starting to have a bit of a... If we can do a little compare and contrast here. See? This is the one I did a few weeks ago, and this one I did today. So you can see that there's starting to be a bit of a pattern here. There's both terrific and outstanding, One is, I haven't signed the other one yet, but you can see that they're kind of similar, but they're different. So that's it, folks. I'm going to turn the air conditioning back on. I think me and the bugs need some better air. It's still fucking hot. I mean, this Florida weather here, it's like a long summer. It was in the 90s today. But that's it. This is one Mike Messier. Thanks to the 38 subscribers. If you are watching this far, you can copy and paste the URL, share this wonderful review. If you're new here, you're saying, well, gee whiz, Mike, why should we subscribe? Well, if you want to hear my takes on movies, life rants, other issues of the day, you come here to One Mike Messier. If you want to see my original films, go to One Man and a Camera Films on YouTube. One Man and a Camera Films on YouTube. That's the number one, Man and a Camera Films. You can see The Impeccable, Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary, my feature, Blood Sugar Sedace. If you want to see my pro wrestling and sports rants, you can go to One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan, One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan. And finally, if you're interested in my wonderful artwork, okay, you can go to One Artist, Mike Messier. That's about it. Okay, have a wonderful goddamn night. And so you just see the movie, should you not, go see it. Bring a friend.